Hello everyone, Luke here again. Next video for Legacy of the Duels Link Evolution. The Trickstar deck I used in the last Duelist challenge. Alright, let's get to it. Alright, so 3 honest. Everything is light, has low attack points, and yeah, great protection. Basically, yeah, you want to keep your anything on the field with Holy Angel or just whatever it is at the time. Just great to have in this deck, obviously, because alright, so let's get to the effect anyway, even though I've done this a few times. During your main phase, if this card's on the field, you can return this face-up card from the field to the hand. Yeah, okay. So now, but it's the second effect, which is the main use for like the last 10 years plus, or something like that. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, during the damage step, that is, and that monster gains attack equal to the attack of the opponent's monster it's battling until the end of this turn. So yes, really good. Okay, let's go with Candina. I actually managed to get this card a lot, even though, I mean, semi-limited, but anyway, still, it's the main card in the deck that keeps the engine. It's the engine card. So when this card is normal summon, you can add 1 Trickstar card from your deck to your hand. Each time your opponent activates a spell or trap card, inflict 200 damage to them immediately after it resolves. So you can search this card with your light stage. You can add a light stage if you want, or you can add any monster, any Trickstar card, reincarnation as well. But yeah, this is the card you want straight away. Okay, so let's go to the Lily Bell, and if this card is added to your hand, except by drawing it, you can special summon from hand, like that for example, or the light stage. And let's see, once per turn this card can attack directly. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target a Trickstar monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Okay, so yes, that's useful in multiple different ways there. The fact it can special summon itself, the direct attack, and then recycling. So yes, very cool card. Okay, Licorice, or Lycoris, depends how you pronounce it. It's a quick effect. You can reveal this card in your hand and target a Trickstar monster you control except itself. Special summon this card, and if you do, return that monster to your hand. Each time the card is added to your opponent's hand, inflict 200 damage to them for each. Back when like a reincarnation was at 3, very incredibly useful. The trick with this card is that it's not a cost to bounce the card back, so you can special summon multiple of these, even if you only have a 1 Trickstar on the field. Like, this may be the only Trickstar on the field. If you have 3 of these in hand, you can summon 3 of these, and you only have to return 1 of this. All of a sudden, you got 3 monsters on the field. So yes, it's quite useful in that situation. Okay, so this is Narcissus. If your opponent takes effect damage, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Now, each time your opponent activates a monster effect in their hand or the graveyard, inflict 200 damage to them immediately after it resolves. But plenty of ways to inflict damage with this deck. So it's pretty, not the hardest card to get out. I found it pretty useful during the duels. I ran a couple of Nightshade as well. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a link material for link summon a Trickstar monster, you can special summon this card and banish it when it leaves the field. You can use it once per turn, but it's an easy way to get your Holy Angel on the field, because you can use it to summon the Bloom, and so that it special summons itself, and then you can get Holy Angel out straight away. So yeah, that's pretty useful, having a couple. Not that I actually used the effect during the duels, but when testing, I did a little bit of testing with the deck, and there were situations where I did that, and so I put a couple in. Dark Room and Nightmare. Each time your opponent takes damage from a card effect, except Dark Room and Nightmare, inflict 300 damage to your opponent. So this card stacks, and it can chain multiple times during the same chain and just keep on inflicting lots and lots of damage. So in the first duel I played, it did that. It did quite a lot. I mean, if you had multiple of these on the field, you're just going to do ridiculous damage. Monster Reborn, Terraforming, This is the card you want. Trickstar Light Stage. When this card is activated, you can add a Trickstar monster from your deck to your hand. Once per turn, you can target one set card in your opponent's spell and trap zone while this card is in the field zone. That set card cannot be activated until the end phase, and your opponent must activate it during the end phase, or else you send it to the graveyard. Each time a Trickstar monster you control inflicts battle or effect damage to your opponent, inflict 200 to them. So yeah, the first effect's really good. Shuts out spells and traps on the field, sends them to the graveyard at the end phase if they're not activated, and just does lots of damage, works well with the Dark Room and Nightmare. Searches, yeah, just really good card. There's a couple other field spells, but this is the one I like to use. Couple of Twin Twisters there to get rid of back row. Blazing Mirror Force. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, destroy as many attack position monsters your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, take damage equal to half the combined original attack of those destroyed monsters, then inflict damage to your opponent equal to the damage you took. So another way of inflicting damage to your opponent plus destroying their attack position monsters. The only thing you have to be careful of with this card is that it's not like Ring of Destruction where it inflicts damage at the same time. If your life hits 0, you lose the duel, even if the effect would take your opponent to 0 as well. This inflicts damage to you first, and then if you're still alive, then it will inflict the damage to your opponent. So that's the only thing you have to watch out for with this card. 3 Magic Cylinder. When your opponent monster declares an attack, target the attacking monster, negate the attack, and if you do inflict damage to your opponent. Yeah, this card's been around forever, so there's another way to protect your monsters and inflict damage. Probably could have put a Ring of Destruction here now that I think about it, but oh well. Okay, so Metaverse is take one field spell from your deck, either activate it or add it to your hand. So I run this and the 3 of these and the Terraforming to get this as quick as possible. A couple of Solemn Strike there for protection, a couple of Trap Tricks since we're running 9 that can be searched. The Blazings, the Magic Cylinders, and the Metaverse can be searched with this card. And the single Reincarnation, it's pretty broken, that's why they've limited to 1. So its effect is banish your opponent's entire hand, and if you do, they draw the same number of cards. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target Trickstar monster in your graveyard, and special summon. So yeah, it's a monster reborn, banishes their hand, can inflict ridiculous amounts of damage if you got the right card on the field. Yeah, so no surprise it got limited. Alright, let's go to the extra deck. So a couple of rank 4s here. Tsukiyomi, 2 level 4 light monsters. You can attach material from this card. You send your entire hand to the graveyard, minimum 1, then draw 2 cards. So you don't need to worry about the Bujin effect, but this is a way of just getting a couple extra cards if required. And a Cowboy, it has the inflict damage effect. Lots and lots of Link monsters, Boral Sword, the Talker, Hipposhinigans, since everything is light, Unicorn, Link Karibo, that's for the level 1 there, just in case you need this as another option instead of Bloom. The Talker. Okay, let's go to Bella Madonna. I think I put almost one of everything in here just for the hell of it, because that's what I do. I'm trying to make it fun. So 2 plus Trickstar monsters. While this Link Summon card points to no monsters, it is unaffected by other cards' activated effects. If this card points to no monsters, you can inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each Trickstar monster in your graveyard with a different name. You can only use this effect to Trickstar Bella Madonna once per turn. So just, yeah, big attack and lots of burn damage. So Bloom, we were talking about before, it's actually a level 2 or lower Trickstar monster. So there's a couple of targets in here, like the Lily Bell can also be used. Now, if this card is Link Summon, you can make your opponent draw 1 card. If a face-up Trickstar monster this card points to is destroyed by battle, you can inflict, or card effect, you can inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each card in their hand. You cannot use each effect once, but so basically you can use Nightshade to bring this out. Nightshade special summons itself, then you can go straight into the Holy Angel. Okay. Deflendium, 2 plus Trickstar monsters. When this card declares an attack while pointing to a Trickstar monster, you can target your banished Trickstar cards up to the number of link monsters your opponent controls, add them to your hand. If you do, this card gains 1000 attack for each card. Add until the end phase. Yeah, that effect was pretty useless in the duel I was playing against, and I just try and make stuff fun, so I just try to put in like one of everything. Okay, Holy Angel is 2 Trickstar monsters. Each time a Trickstar monster is normal or special summoned to a zone this points to, plural S, lots of them. Inflict 200 damage to your opponent, so it works well with Dark Room and Nightmare. And of course the light stage. Now, Trickstar monsters this card points to cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, so great protection, inflicts lots of damage. If your opponent takes damage by a Trickstar monster attack, this card gains attack equal to the damage they took. So it's going to gain mostly 200 each time. So it can, inflict lots of damage, gain points, gain attack points, and protects your monsters. And under clock takeover, because it's usually in there all the time. Yeah, so lots of... Anyway, until next time, thank you all for watching and see you again soon.